Look into your dog's eyes right now. Go ahead. Really look. And I want you to notice something. Not what you think you're seeing. Not the love, not the excitement, not the adorable puppy face you've fallen for 100 times. I want you to notice what's underneath all of that. Because there is something happening in those eyes. Something your dog has been trying to communicate to you every single day, and the terrifying part is, most owners completely miss it. Not because they don't care, but because nobody ever told them what they were actually looking at. And by the end of this video, the way you look at your dog will never be the same again. Let's start with something simple. You come home after a long day. Your dog runs to the door, tail going crazy, jumping, spinning, doing that full body wiggle that makes your whole day better. You look into those eyes and you see pure joy, right? You think, my dog loves me. My dog missed me. And sure, that's true. But that's not the full story. Not even close. What most dog owners don't realize is that in that exact moment, when your dog is doing all of that, their eyes are sending you a very specific signal. A signal that tells you something critical about their emotional state, their mental health, and honestly about the relationship you've built with them. And most people are reading it completely wrong. Here's what I mean. Dogs cannot talk. We all know that. But evolution gave them something arguably more powerful than words. It gave them an entire communication system built into their body, their posture, their breath, their tail, and most importantly, their eyes. And this system is running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whether you're paying attention or not. Your dog is always talking. The question is whether you're actually listening. Now, I want to tell you about a woman named Sarah. She had a golden retriever named Biscuit. Beautiful dog, 7 years old. She'd had him since he was 8 weeks old. They did everything together. Morning walks, cuddles on the couch, weekend hikes. By any measure, she was a fantastic dog owner. Dedicated, loving, present. But one afternoon, her vet said something that completely shook her world. Biscuit was showing early signs of chronic stress. Not physical illness, psychological stress. And Sarah was stunned. She said, "But I look into his eyes every single day. He always looks happy. He's always wagging his tail, and that's when the vet said something that changed everything." She said, "Sometimes the most stressed dogs are the ones who look the happiest to us." Let that sit for a second, because that is where this gets really interesting. And a little unsettling. Dogs, as a species, have evolved alongside humans for somewhere between 15,000 and 40,000 years, depending on which study you read. That is an enormous amount of time. And in that time, they became extraordinarily good at one specific thing, reading us. And equally important, they became good at managing us, because their survival for thousands of years depended on staying in our favor, on being wanted, on being kept. So your dog learned through generations and generations of evolution to give you what you want to see. And what do humans want to see? They want to see a happy dog, a tail-wagging, bright-eyed, enthusiastic dog. And so that's often what you get, even when it isn't the full picture. Now, this doesn't mean your dog is being deceptive. That would be giving them a kind of human reasoning they don't quite have. It's more instinctual than that, more automatic. But the result is the same. You can be looking directly into your dog's eyes, thinking everything is fine, while missing what's actually being communicated. So what are you actually supposed to be looking for? That's the question, isn't it? Let's start with something called eye contact itself. When your dog makes direct eye contact with you, what does that mean? Most people think it means love. And there's real science behind that, by the way. Research has shown that when dogs and their owners make eye contact, both experience a surge of oxytocin, which is the same bonding hormone released between mothers and their newborns. So yes, eye contact between you and your dog is genuinely, biologically meaningful. But here's what nobody tells you. There are different kinds of eye contact, and they mean very, very different things. soft eye contact, where the eyes are slightly relaxed, where there's a gentleness to the gaze, where you can see a natural blinking rhythm. That is the eye contact of a dog who feels safe. That is the eye contact of trust. That is what you want to see. And when your dog looks at you like that, especially unprompted, in a quiet moment, that is actually one of the most meaningful signals they can give you. But then there's hard eye contact. Eyes that are wide. Eyes that feel intense. Eyes that don't blink normally. And this is where things get complicated. Because hard eye contact can mean a lot of different things. It can mean focus, like when your dog is tracking a ball. It can mean alertness, like when they hear a strange noise. But it can also mean something most owners never want to admit. It can mean your dog is overwhelmed, anxious, or even in certain contexts, on the edge of reacting in a way that surprises you. And this is where things get dangerous. Not in a dramatic way, but in a quiet, slow-building way that can affect your dog's health, your relationship, and yes, in some cases, safety. Let me tell you what happens around the eyes when a dog is stressed. And I want you to really pay attention here, because this is the stuff that most dog owners never learn. First, watch for what trainers and behaviorists call whale eye. This is when you can see the whites of your dog's eyes, the sclera, more than usual. It often happens when a dog turns their head away from something but keeps their eyes fixed on it. The head goes one direction, the eyes go the other, and you get that crescent of white on the side of the eye. It looks almost comical in photos. People post pictures of their dogs doing whale eye all the time, captioned with something like, "He's so dramatic." But what they're actually seeing is a dog who is uncomfortable, who is feeling trapped or conflicted, who is trying to communicate, "Please give me space." Second, pay attention to tension around the eyes. When a dog is relaxed, the muscles around their eyes are soft. The forehead is smooth. But when a dog is stressed or worried, you'll start to see tiny wrinkles appear above the eyes. The brow furrows slightly. The whole orbital area tightens. It's subtle. You have to know to look for it. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. Third, and this one surprises most people, pay attention to blinking, or more specifically, the absence of it. A relaxed dog blinks normally and freely. They might even do what's sometimes called a slow blink, a long, lazy blink that in dog language is essentially saying, "I'm calm, I trust you, I'm not a threat." But a dog who stops blinking, whose eyes go still and fixed, is a dog whose nervous system has shifted into a very different mode. Now here's the part that connects all of this together. And this is the piece that Sarah, with her golden retriever, Biscuit, had been missing for years. Dogs don't just communicate distress through dramatic signals. They don't always bark, or growl, or cower, or shake. Often, especially in dogs who have been with the same owner for a long time, the signals are incredibly subtle, almost invisible if you're not trained to see them. These are called calming signals, a term coined by Norwegian dog trainer and behaviorist Turid Rugaas. And they are one of the most important concepts in understanding dog communication. Calming signals are the small, quiet things your dog does to manage stress, in themselves or in their environment. Yawning when there's no reason to be tired, licking their lips when there's no food around, turning their head away slightly when you try to make eye contact, blinking slowly and repeatedly in a tense situation, sniffing the ground even when there's nothing interesting there. And here's what breaks my heart a little bit. Most owners see these signals and think nothing of it, or worse, they accidentally punish them. A dog looks away during a training session, and the owner thinks the dog is being stubborn or distracted and corrects them. But the dog was actually trying to communicate, "This is a little too much for me right now." And what the owner taught them, without meaning to, is that their communication doesn't work. That expressing discomfort leads to more pressure, not less. Over time, dogs who learn this lesson stop sending the small signals, and when small signals stop working, eventually, the only tools they have left are the big ones. The ones that finally make humans pay attention, but we're not there yet. Because I want to go even deeper, because there's one more thing happening in your dog's eyes that almost nobody talks about. And this is the part that, when I learned it, completely changed the way I interact with dogs. It has to do with something called the social gaze, and specifically with what your dog's gaze patterns reveal about what they actually need from you. Not what we assume they need, not what we project onto them. What they are genuinely, physiologically seeking. Studies using eye-tracking technology, actual technology that tracks what dogs look at and for how long, have shown something fascinating. Dogs are the only non-human animals that consistently look to human faces for information and guidance when they're uncertain. Wolves don't do this. Even wolves raised by humans don't consistently do this, but dogs do. It's in their DNA now. When a dog doesn't know what to do, when they feel uncertain, the first thing they do is look at their owner's face. Think about that. The first thing. Every single time. Now, what does that mean for you? It means your dog is reading your face, your eyes, your expression, your emotional state more carefully and more constantly than you've ever imagined. While you're looking at your dog trying to figure out what they're feeling, your dog is simultaneously doing the exact same thing with you. You are each other's emotional mirrors. And this is where a mistake that almost every dog owner makes becomes really clear. We've been told to watch our dog's body language, which is great advice. But we forget that we have body language too. And our dogs are absolute experts at reading it. When you are anxious, your dog knows. When you are tense, your dog knows. When you are rushing, impatient, distracted, grieving, excited, overwhelmed, your dog knows. They know before you've said a word. Sometimes before you've even fully registered it yourself, because they are watching your eyes, your micro-expressions, the tiny shifts in your face that you don't even know you're making. And here's what this means in practical, real-life terms. When you look at your dog and feel worried because they seem anxious, and then you communicate that worry through your own body language, your tension, your hovering, your repeated checking, you are actually feeding the very thing you're trying to fix. You're telling your dog, yes, there is something to be worried about. I'm worried too. Be worried. This is why some of the most effective things you can do for an anxious dog have nothing to do with the dog at all. They have to do with you, your breath, your posture, your ability to genuinely internally project calm, not performed. Calm, not forced cheerfulness. Genuine calm. Because your dog will know the difference. They always know the difference. So what does all of this look like in practice? Let me walk you through something you can try today. The next time you're sitting quietly with your dog, maybe in the evening, maybe first thing in the morning, instead of looking at your phone or the TV, I want you to sit with your dog and just watch. Not intensely, not with that hard stare that can make dogs uncomfortable, but softly, gently. And start looking for everything we talked about. Is their body relaxed? Are their muscles loose? Is their breathing slow and even? Now look at their eyes. Are they blinking normally? Do you see any tension in the muscles above? Their eyes? Are they making soft eye contact with you, or are they scanning the room, or showing you that sliver of white? And then, this is the key, start doing a slow blink back at them. A long, gentle, deliberate blink. Like you're telling them in their own language, I see you. I'm calm. You're safe. And then watch what happens. Because often, within a few seconds, they'll do it back. And in that moment, you're not just observing your dog. You're actually having a conversation with them. A real one. And here's the bigger truth underneath all of this. The thing that brings every single piece of this together. Your dog's eyes are not just windows into their emotions. They are a two-way channel. A living, breathing feedback loop between two species who chose each other thousands of years ago and have been trying to understand each other ever since. When you learn to read what's really there, not just what you hope to see or what's easy to see, but what's actually there, something shifts. In the relationship, in the trust, in the depth of the connection you're able to build. Sarah, the woman, With the golden retriever Biscuit, she went home after that vet appointment, and she started paying attention differently. She started noticing the subtle lip licks during their training sessions. The tiny head turns when she raised her voice even slightly. The way Biscuit would yawn right before they left the house, every single time. And how she'd always just thought he was tired. She started slow blinking back at him. She started sitting with him in silence instead of always filling the space with chatter or commands. She started watching her own energy before she even walked through the door at the end of the day. And over the next few months, something changed. Biscuit became calmer, more settled. He started initiating that soft eye contact more often. That long, gentle, trusting gaze that isn't asking for anything and doesn't need anything. The one that just says, I know you. I trust you. I'm okay. She didn't do anything dramatic. She didn't hire a trainer or change his diet or buy new toys. She just started actually seeing him. Really seeing him. And that changed everything. That's what I want for you. Because your dog has been looking at you with those eyes every single day. Sending you signals, having conversations with you, telling you things in the only language they have. And now, for the first time, you have the tools to actually hear what they're saying. So the next time you look into your dog's eyes, remember, there is more there than love. There is communication. There is trust, or the need for it. There is comfort being asked for or offered. There is a whole language being spoken in silence, and you just became fluent in the most important parts of it. If this changed the way you see your dog, even a little, share it with someone who has a dog. Because this is the kind of thing every owner deserves to know. And if you want to go even deeper into understanding what your dog is really telling you every day, there's so much more to explore together. Stick around. Your dog will be glad you did.